Hello everyone, thanks again for coming by and checking us out at Couch Coaching. Today we're going to cover the last quarter of the Pittsburgh Steelers 2012 season. I'm Vincent, this is Jimmy. And the Pittsburgh Steelers right now are 7-5. 2 games out of first place in the AFC North. And coming off a great game, against the Baltimore Ravens. They're hated. I'm not going to even say they hate them.
No,
they're respected rival.
No, we hate them.
Okay, they're hated rival.
We hate them.
Jimmy's a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm pretty sure all of you that watch these videos already knows that. But Charlie Batch had an emotional win. I mean, he played his heart out. After playing horribly against Cleveland the week before, Pittsburgh Steelers ended up beating Baltimore 23-20, which still keeps them in the hunt for the AFC North title. And again, we're here to cover their fourth quarter.
Yep.
Their third quarter, they played Kansas City, which they won 16-13. And I believe in that game, that was when Ben Roethlisberger got knocked out.
Yeah.
Then they went out to lose against Baltimore 10-13 when Byron Leftwich stayed out in the game when he knew something wasn't right. He ended up having some fractured ribs. And you could tell something wasn't right with him. So look, sometimes, guys, if you can't play 100%, especially at the quarterback position, don't play.
Yeah.
Let the next guy come in. And they lost that game, 10-13. Then they lost to Cleveland, which Charlie Batch played very poorly in that game.
Well, it wasn't just him.
They had a number of turnovers. They had a bunch of turnovers.
Five fumbles, and goodness gracious. I mean, you had Mendenhall, Redmond, Dreyer, Rainey. I mean, you can name everybody on the offensive side.
Most all the field position players had some kind of fumble, right?
It's like, holy
all the running backs fumbled the ball. Is that correct?
Yeah, they even actually recycled it because once Mendenhall fumbled, they came up with Redmond. Then Redmond fumbled, they went to Dreyer. Dreyer fumbled, went to Rainey. Got the only touchdown at the time at the end of the second quarter.
Right.
Then at the beginning of the third, fumbled, recycled it back over again. Went back to Mendenhall, went back. I mean, it was just.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And so, but they won. They won a crucial matchup against Baltimore, which takes Baltimore at M&T Bank Field, which they don't lose there.
Yeah, 15 straight. The last game they lost there was in 2010 against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
And the reason why it's such an emotional game for Charlie himself is that most likely he's done at the end of the season. So he's going to retire a Steeler. And in order for this game to really mean something to us, that we needed to have this game, Ben wasn't going to play. He had to take it and win it, and he did, is what makes it such an emotional game that, he's not coming back. They're speculating that he is going to retire. So, I mean, that's what makes it, again, so much more important that he'll remember this game, especially if the Steelers go on to the playoffs and happen to go to the Super Bowl. Right. It's going to be because they had to beat the Baltimore Ravens to do so.
To keep their playoff hopes alive, exactly. So the first team that they play in this last quarter of the season, they'll be playing the San Diego Chargers. Look, San Diego's season has spiraled completely out of control.
Yeah, North Turner's gone.
Yeah, North Turner's gone. Yeah, he's gone. And
if he's not, every San Diego fan out there that is a season ticket holder should drop the tickets because that'd be just crazy. I mean, North Turner needs to go. I mean, y'all, that team would be a whole lot better with Jamarcus Russell coaching. And all the people who do know who that is. He's a big Raiders fan. This is not my house. That is a shot at him.
Okay.
Had to do it.
San Diego. I think San Diego is going to lose this game. I think Pittsburgh will beat San Diego. My friend here keeps stabbing me in the back. I thought we were friends, but he keeps stabbing me in the back with the Jamarcus Russell comments. But it's all good. I'll heal. But I think in all seriousness though, San Diego, the way they lost that game this past weekend, it just looked like they're done.
Yeah.
I think they're done. I think they've all
know they're done.
They know they're done. They've all decided that, it's over, whatever. And I think them having to come from the West Coast out to the East Coast and play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh with Roethlisberger come back is going to be too much.
Yeah.
So I think that the Pittsburgh will win that game against San Diego. And so we both in agreement with that. So Pittsburgh will then have to go to Dallas to play Dallas. And look, I think at this particular stage, Pittsburgh needs this game.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dallas has enough to get it done. I just don't. And I'm trying to remember what I said against our Dallas prediction, but I think I predicted that Pittsburgh would win this game also.
Yeah.
So I don't see. Look, Dallas is so herky jerky that they don't know what they want to do. You just never know who's going to show up. And for whatever reason, at that stadium, and again, look, Dallas Cowboys Stadium is one of the best entertainment stadiums in the world. But that's the problem. It's too much other stuff going on for it to be a home field advantage. You get what I'm saying?
And again, if you go back to watch the Dallas Cowboys deal that me and Vince put together, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we travel well.
Yep.
We travel to every game.
And with a stadium that large, it's easy to travel well.
Right. So, I remember watching several different games where they're at. People were making comments, are we sure we're not playing in Pittsburgh?
Right.
Because Pittsburgh fans travel so well.
Right.
So it's not even a home field advantage for them.
No, it's not. And so I think because of the importance of the game for them, I feel like that the Pittsburgh Steelers will win that game as well.
Right, I do too.
And then they wrap up the season. Now, this is the thing about Pittsburgh right now, because right now they are 7-5. They're 7-5, and they're only 2 games behind Baltimore, and they're tied with Cincinnati.
Yep.
And both of them are fighting for one of those wild card spots. Now, I honestly feel like only one wild card spot is coming out the AFC North.
Yeah, the other one's going out the AFC South.
I think Indianapolis has that one pretty much wrapped up, unless the bottom falls out of their season.
Right, which could happen. Got to play Houston twice.
So that's what makes this game against Cincinnati that much more important, because you have to kick them out of the way.
Yeah.
And I feel like as good as Cincinnati is, and as good as they're going to be in the future, I just don't think that they're ready right now. And then they have to play this game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Which they never have that great success.
All right, they don't have a lot of success in Pittsburgh, and their running game is not quite there. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis has been good as far as securing the ball, but he's not a premier running back. And I'm talking about for Cincinnati. So I think that Pittsburgh will win that game as well.
And the last one's going to be Cleveland at Pitt.
So you feel like Pittsburgh's going to win that game against Cincinnati also?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was a brainer.
That was a no-brainer?
Yeah, I didn't think I needed to really think a whole lot on that one. Because if you go back and look, when they did play them, which was earlier in the season, it was 24-17.
Right.
I have to give Ike Taylor a whole lot of kudos. Ike Taylor draws a lot of criticism, but every week he's matched up against the best wide receiver that the other team has to offer.
Right.
And in that game that they played in Cincinnati, I think A.J. Green only had 4 catches for like 40-something yards. So it was only, 4 first downs if you really break it down to statistic-wise. Ike Taylor does a great job shutting down their number one without having a whole lot of help over the top.
Yeah, he actually did even better than that. He had 1 catch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it was for a touchdown, but he only had 1 catch for 8 yards.
Yeah, so 1 catch, 8 yards, out of the whole 60-minute game.
Right.
But at that time, we did not have Troy. We will have Troy.
Right.
Troy is healthy. He was in the game against Baltimore. He's good. You're going to have Ben, who's going to be good. You have Jonathan Dwyer coming off one of his best seasons since he's had the halfway start. There's just too much weapons for Cincinnati.
Look, if you look back at their previous matchup, the problem that's going to raise its head again is that the average rush yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers against Cincinnati was 5.8 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem, especially for a team that likes to run the ball. And then on top of that, too, the weather will probably get even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't stop them from running, and that's what they want to do, that's going to be a problem. Be a problem for them. And then on top of that, too, like we already mentioned, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis has been good with protecting the ball. But again, in that game, he had 18 carries for 69 yards, which was only 3.8 yards per carry. That's not going to get it done.
Mm-mm.
So, Harrison is rounded back into shape.
By that time,
Troy will be back.
Yeah, Troy will be back. Woodley will be back.
Yeah.
Foot's doing a great job.
Right.
Curtis Brown is doing a great job on the cornerback position. Ike Taylor's doing a great job. Ryan Clark's been filling in great.
I cannot see a way that Cincinnati is going to be able to win that game in Pittsburgh, even though it's going to be a good game.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the score is going to be pretty much similar to what the first one was. I think it's probably going to be like 24-17, but still in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right, I do too.
And then they play the Cleveland Browns. Look,
they got lucky.
I'm gonna say this: they playing Cleveland in Pittsburgh. And I'm gonna tell it to you like this: it's some payback finna happen. And I think, go ahead. I think Pittsburgh is gonna smash them. I mean straight in the face. That's my opinion.
If you look at that game with all the bad things that happened for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they still only lost that game by 6 points. You had a third-string quarterback in. You had fumbling issues.
Right.
Nobody could blame the defense for allowing some scores to happen because they were going 3 and out, 2 and out.
Right.
On the other side of the 50. I mean, if you look at that game, really honestly, the defense did a heck of a job. They stopped a lot of scores and held them to field goals.
Right.
I mean, I think for the first 2 quarters, I think they only had like 9 points.
Well, the box score for that particular game, look, Pittsburgh scored the first touchdown
On
interception, returned for a touchdown, and it was 7-3 after the first quarter. Then after that, Cleveland scored 10. The Steelers scored 7, and then Cleveland scored another touchdown in the third quarter. And I believe that touchdown, let me check to make sure, that touchdown was by Trent Richardson. And the problem with that game is that the turnovers. Mm-hmm. Look, Pittsburgh had 8 turnovers in that game.
You can't win.
You can't win. I don't care. Right.
Yeah, I don't care if you're, the Super Bowl champions or you're just, just some team. I mean, you have 8 turnovers, you're going to lose. And that's what happened. And, yeah. I mean, so, yeah, it's going to be some payback. You're coming to the Heinz Field.
Right.
It is going to be the last game. Oh, you can bet.
And not only is it going to be the last game, but it's going to be a game that's going to mean something as far as them making it.
Right, so you're going to have every starter.
Yeah.
There's not going to be nobody resting. Everybody who's chomping at the bit is going to be there.
Exactly. So I think we both agree that they'll win that game. And, the killing part about it is, they're going to need this kind of finish. Because, if we look at the standings right now.
Every game is a must-win.
It is.
And that's the way the Steelers are looking at it. And they're going to keep looking at it ever since Baltimore. Last night, when they beat Baltimore at M&T, they realized that every game is a must-win. Every game is a playoff game. They're not looking at, well, maybe we can get by with this. No, they're looking at this is it. This is a make or break because they've given up too many games they should have won.
Exactly.
Raiders, Tennessee.
Right.
I mean, these 2 games right here.
Those two games could be. Look.
What if tied us with Baltimore right
exactly.
now?
Those 2 games. It's games like that can end up costing you the playoffs. And so it's important. It's important for them to win every game going forward because again, you got Cincinnati with the exact same record as them. Indianapolis is 1 game in front of them, and then you have that's it. There's nobody else that's challenging them for those particular positions.
Right.
So you need to win. Now, again,
you got Buffalo.
Could Buffalo,
Miami.
could New York, could Miami. Yeah, they could, but it's not going to happen.
No.
So you have to win these games going forward, because I think we both agree that, Indianapolis has that one of those wild card spots locked up.
Unless a break falls.
Exactly, unless the break falls.
And that is unless they play Texans twice and lose both times.
Yeah.
Because if they lose both times, now you're not looking at 8 or, you're not looking at 10-4 or whatever. You're looking at 8-7.
Right.
8-6. So,
right.
I mean, you're looking...
You're looking at 10-6, and you could be caught. You could be caught by both Cincinnati and... Well, actually, only one of them, because again, they're going to have to play each other at least one more time.
Right.
So, I think that Cincinnati, realistically speaking, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are fighting for that last spot. Now, having said that, not only are they fighting for that last spot, depending on what Baltimore does, they can be fighting for the AFC North Championship.
Right.
Because Baltimore and the rest of their schedule, and again, I know we're here to talk about the Steelers, but again, we want to clarify that they're just not fighting for the wild card spot.
The Ravens haven't even clinched the playoff spot.
Exactly, and the Ravens still have to play Washington. They have to play Denver. They have to play the Giants. And, they end the season with Cincinnati. So, I mean, it's important.
Yeah, they got to win all the rest of their games.
All these games are important, yeah. So,
because they've already beat Cincinnati once. But
right.
They have to beat them again.
Yeah.
So, but we're looking... as in not a team who needs help. We're looking at a team that's facing a must-win situation. Even though it may not be a must-win, but that's the way Tomlin is teaching them to look. It's a must-win situation.
Look, the AFC South is slow. It used to be you guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Baltimore Ravens, and that's it. Who was gonna represent? As number one, who's going to represent you guys as the AFC South champion, and number two,
AFC North.
It's the AFC North champion, and then number two, how the wild card was going to come out of there too. But now with the Bengals, and their young talent, started to show themselves. They got to the playoffs last year. They're having a good season this year. They may end up going 10-6 and miss the playoffs.
Yep.
The Bengals. That could happen.
And that's sad to say because if you look at everywhere else, 10-6 or what have you get you into the playoffs.
You look at the NFC, and what's funny is that I guess about halfway through the season, what's funny is that a lot of the analysts were saying that the AFC was clearly weaker than the NFC. But now it looked like the worm has turned. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of the NFC teams have kind of fallen off, and it looked like the AFC teams are starting to show their strength. You get what I'm saying? So right now, we know Pittsburgh needs to win at least 3 of these last 4 games.
Right.
And I think
the 2 they need to get for sure is Cleveland.
Yep.
And Cincinnati. Those 2 for sure. And we do believe that they will beat San Diego. I have no doubt in my mind that they will go 4-0 this last stretch.
Yeah.
But 3 out of the 4, as long as it's Cincinnati, Cleveland, and San Diego. 5.
Right, exactly. Because those are the people that look. San Diego, you ought to be able to beat because I think they've given up. Dallas, they're fighting for something. I still feel like they'll be able to beat Dallas in Dallas.
But if we lose to Dallas, I'm like, it's not going to make a big difference. If we turn around and play
beat Cincinnati
because we go back home.
Right.
If we can beat San Diego at home, go on the road. If we happen to lose, which I don't think we will, but if we happen to, we come back home, beat Cincinnati, beat Cleveland.
And again, that Cincinnati game is so important because Cincinnati are playing for the same thing.
Yeah, because not only that, if we play them and we beat them, now they got to turn around and play Baltimore.
Right, and try to beat
them. And I think they're playing at M&T.
Right.
And again, the last team to beat Baltimore at M&T before Sunday was 2010, and that was the Steelers.
Right.
So, it's not like it's an easy stadium to go play and win.
So I think we both agree that the Pittsburgh Steelers should end up 4-0 this particular quarter season, and then going to the playoffs strong. Now that 4-0 could have them being the AFC North champions,
depending on what Baltimore
does. But I think it's going to definitely get them into the playoffs. Okay, hey guys, thanks for coming by and watching us again, and continue to watch us because we're going to be doing the playoffs as well, and also we're going to do a big thing for a Super Bowl. So, thanks for stopping by. If you have any comments, leave them at the bottom of the page, and check us out on
Couch Coaching 12 at Facebook, and y'all have a good one.
Peace.